Hello, this is Robert Hankins with Photography Basics. Today we're going to be looking at understanding ISO and digital noise. Here we have a beautiful picture from Yellowstone National Park. And the shot has Old Faithful shooting up. The scene was shot with a 400 ISO, which really isn't very high compared to most digital cameras today. And it was shot at night. Anything over 1 second gives you a very long shutter speed, which with digital increases the noise factor, the little dots, the image resolution that's there. At 100% viewing, when you're viewing noise, it might not look all that bad. You might be able to see some of the detail, some of the little specks on there, which we can see on this shot. But as we get closer, we see it at 200%, the noise is very visible. Every little pixel of noise is now amplified or magnified twice, which makes the noise very, very visible. When shooting at higher ISOs, the noise is increased. If you shoot at 100, the noise is very minimal. If you shoot at 200, there's a little bit more, 400 a little more, and all the way 800, 1600, 3200 ISO. However high you go with the ISO, the higher the ISO, regardless of the type of camera, there will be more noise than at the lower numbered ISO. If you're just planning on reproducing 4x6s, maybe 5x7s, you really aren't going to make a very large print out of it. You might not even notice the little grains, the little specks, digital noise there, so the quality might not be a big factor to you. And instead, you might appreciate going to a high ISO because it gives you more light sensitivity, which makes you able to have a faster shutter speed in dark scenes. So if you're shooting indoors with sports or with dances or different things that you want to have a fast shutter speed, you can do that when shooting with a high ISO. Here we have another comparison from 3200 ISO next to a 100 ISO. Noise is most noticeable in the darker portions, the shadow regions of the picture. And as we can see that in the darker areas of the picture, there's more grit noise to it, whereas compared to the 100 ISO on the left, it's sharper, crisper, and there isn't that digital noise factor, which the quality then is better on the lower ISO. So, noise increases when the ISO number becomes larger, regardless of the camera you're using. Smaller sensor sizes have more noise. That's why if you use a point-and-shoot camera, which are definitely more affordable, they have smaller sensors than their digital SLR cousins, or even the Micro Four Thirds, which have bigger sensors than little point-and-shoots. That's why cell phone cameras have very small sensors. They have a very high noise ratio. The quality just is not able to be captured that well with a smaller sensor. Shutter speeds over 1 second with digital increase the noise that is in your picture. There are times, though, in the picture at the beginning of Old Faithful that you want to use a longer shutter speed. There are a couple different options. You can decrease noise in editing, post-production, or you can take a second picture with a certain camera setting. It'll take a picture of blank darkness, and it'll compare the noise from the blank setting to the other picture, and it'll take away the noise from the shot. Downside to that is it takes twice as long, and if you have a 185 second picture, you have to take 2 of those before you can move on and take another picture. Older generation sensors, the noise is probably going to be more noticeable. I have a Canon 20D and I have a Canon 40D, and I've shot with a Canon 7D. Every generation newer, from 20 to 40, from 40 to the 7D, the noise is less because the sensor has gotten better and technology has improved. Same size sensor, better quality with the newer generation sensors. Noise is more noticeable when you enlarge prints as well. You might not notice the noise, which is going to be in the same picture at a small 4x6 or a 5x7 size, where if you start printing 8x10s, maybe 11x14s or even larger, the noise becomes very prominent in your scene and the quality just isn't there in your total overall picture. The dark tones also have the most noticeable area of noise. The brighter sections won't have a lot of noise even at relatively high ISOs, but the darker shadows are where that ends up coming into being. Initial underexposure. If you underexpose your shot, maybe a half a stop too dark, that area, when you can brighten it to make it look better, yes, that's possible, but there will be more noise increase whenever you brighten a picture in editing.